You got the science. You've built something that could generally help people, but we are not joining your trial. And in mental health, that usually isn't because the trial has no value. It's because we as patient. It's because we as patient don't yet trust and understand what you're trying to make us do. Before someone joins the trial, a lot is happening in their mind. Fear, doubt, confusion, hesitation, stigma. And the question is it really for me? In this video, I'm going to show you how to better understand what patients are thinking before they join, how to build trust earlier, and how to make your trial feel clearer, safer, and more relevant to the right people. By the end, you will leave with practical ideas you can use to improve how your trial is perceived and how to recruit qualified patients in mental health. So my name is Clement. I'm the founder of Upstage and also Bipolar Type 2. And what I've seen over the last few years is everything is built considering science. Everything is built in a way that is rational. But if I break my legs, it's quite simple. It's rational. I understand what I want and what I need. Everybody can see it, and I'm going to act on it. But on the other side, let's say I have a depression like I had in the past. I don't know what's going on. And I need help, but I don't want help. What I see is like I usually gonna go through what we call the stage of hope. I'm gonna discover what it is. And we did that for millions of people with social media. Then I'm gonna go into understanding what it is. It's like long form content, online community, and after that, it's really about accepting that I'm in depression and that I need help to make me want help. And we do that through talking group and psychoeducation. And it's only there at this point that I'm ready to act and join your trial. So let's not make the same mistake that I've seen many times around. And let's try to build something people will act on and will trust. And it's not easy. And the real problem is in mental health, trial recruitment is mainly ignoring the fact that we are not rational, that we don't think like scientists. And of course, science is really important and it's what you do great. You got it most of the time, at least from what I've seen. But not talking and having the trust is probably the most important things. And what we love to do is to go back a little bit and understand like what do we want as patient. So it's really about talking to people who are gonna give you honest opinion. So we do a lot of qualitative interview. And we do it with people who already trust us, people who have listened to the podcast, for example. And during those moments, the cool thing is we're going to have this raw and tough feedback about the solution you're trying to build. And we're going to understand a few things. What is the right wording? What is the right persona? What is a customer journey? The main goal is to really understand like how can we avoid what's happening in our brain when we think about doing a trial. If we take the same example such as depression, we have cognitive overload, meaning we're not able and we don't want to do too many things. We don't want to make decisions. Whenever something is hard, we'll stop and we won't continue. I see that many times. So the way you build your ads, the way you build your content, the way you communicate through the patient has to be really clear and understandable. Of course, it needs to be clinically validated and ethically there, but we have to think from the other side. We have to think from the patient lens, and that's what we do. We only work on pathology that we have. I only work, for example, on depression, bipolar, and anxiety because I understand and I have the trust of thousands of people. So how do we get out of the fear, the doubt, the confusion? If you like what you're hearing, it will help a lot to just like this video. And if you have a specific question on your trial, I'm happy to respond to it on the comment. What are you doing? What are you trying to achieve? And how can we help to do that? So really go back a little bit, like whenever we hesitate in depression, you lost us. Whenever we have something that we fear, we're not going to be rational about it and we're going to avoid it. So we're going to drop out. And we really need to flip the approach and start from the lens of us, the lens of the patient. It's not an easy thing to do, but a few things, for example, I can advise you to. First of all, if you use bipolar disorder, it's probably not the best idea. If you use bipolar, it's much more easy to relate. There's many things also about, do you have like a clear persona in mind? What are the customer journeys? So what is the journey of the person before you start the trial? About 70% of us are not going to act on their mental health. We're going to stay in fear and stigma. So how do you get those people to actually join? Whenever someone has joined, why would it drop out? Why would it stop? How do you qualify this person? How do you know that? And how do you get him to want to do something? How do you gather people around him so it will help him go on the trial? So it's not an easy task, but the one thing I'll really advise you is, if you don't work with this, just do it with an expert. So it could be someone that you work with in the past, but don't see them only as a volunteer. See them as the expert in the room who's going to tell you what to do. What was their fear? There's a lot of questions to ask them, but why did they join the trial? What was their fear? Why would they not do it? How would they talk about your trial with someone else? Would they recommend your trial? How do you get them to become an ambassador? That's really the tough things. And I'd really advise you to do that. So it's really about having a real conversation and put them on the same level as you are. You probably have a PhD, and congrats, and you know much more than I do on the science part. But we know that the trust part is way, I think, way more important for recruitment, sadly. It's not only about the science. And so identify where trust break is probably the main thing. So how do you get the right messaging? How do you get the form in a way that it's really easy to act on? How do you get people engaged? One more advice. Whenever, let's keep into the example of depression, but if you want to talk about other mental health pathology, I'd be happy to answer them or to ask for someone to do it on our team. So in depression, if you have even like 1 hour delay between the moment the person fill the document in the form and the moment that you get a call, you probably lose most of them, because we are usually anxious and we fear phone call. So you need to do the whole process and all in one take. That's also a really important thing. Of course, I'd be happy to chat about it and to talk a little bit more on your specific trial and how can we help. We also love to publish your trial. So we have this website called Upstage Research, when we publish most of mental health trial and we make it much more understandable. Let us know if you want to publish. It's free. Basically, really understanding so how to build the right experience for the pathology. So there's no gross hack. At least I try to give it to you. But what is a trusted channel? How do you get channel that people already trust? So it's like having the possibility to talk to people that already are engaged is what we call the stage of hope. How do you get people who are already in a journey? So the people in our audience, our community, they have listened to us for years. They already trust us. So it's much easier for us to get them to act and to have the possibility to get help. Because at the end of the day, trial is to help people to have access to something they couldn't have, and also make the world a better place. So I think really living it is not the same as studying it, as science is different from live experience. Most of us know that, but to really do it is not easy. So really, if you like this video, like it, and happy to respond to all your comments and see how can we help. Have a great day and talk to you soon. You got the science. You've built something that could generally help people, but we are still aren't joining your trial. And in mental health, that usually isn't because your trial has no value. It's because we as patients don't yet trust and understand what we ask to do. Before someone joins your trial, a lot is happening in their mind: fear, doubt, confusion, hesitation, stigma. And the main question is it really for me? In this video, I'm going to show you how to better understand what patients are thinking before they join, how to build trust earlier, and how to make your trial feel clearer, safer, and more relevant for the right people. By the end, you will leave with practical ideas you can use to improve how your trial is perceived and how you recruit qualified participants in mental health. I'm Clement, the founder of Upstage and also Bipolar Type 2.